The future of mobility is incredibly important for this country because it marks a point at which a whole series of communications technologies and other transport technologies are coming together in a way that potentially transforms how we move around and how we meet each other. So, of course, that means that we can be thinking about autonomous vehicles, we can thinking about e-scooters, e-bikes, electric mopeds, new forms of buses, hydrogen vehicles and the like. And that's got a potential to revolutionize not just how we travel, but also whether we can do it in a green, sustainable way. So we have to think really hard about what are the different things that we want out of that, how can we use these technologies, how can we make them work for people. And if we do that effectively in government, then hopefully we can set a strategy over the next few years that will allow a new form of not merely transport, but urban development, rural connectivity to come together. If you look at the history of transport in this country, you can say that there were two great moments, one in the last century and one in the 19th century. In the 19th century, you had the railways, and then suddenly transport was revolutionized over a period of about 30 to 50 years. In the 20th century, you had the advent of the car, and the same thing happened. Now, in each case, no one really particularly planned those. It was a competitive, evolving landscape. In this century, we have a similar opportunity to make changes, and we do have to think. We have to exercise some form of leadership, but it is very complicated, and there are plenty of ways in which it can go wrong. So it's got to be flexible and intelligent, and as well as occasionally decisive. Now, we've placed a few markers in government on this. We've said we want all vehicles, new vehicles, to be electrified or hydrogen powered or not powered by hydrocarbons by 2040. That's a big move, especially for a country that's got an enormous car industry of a conventional kind. So we've made some big moves. Now the next stage is to try to go further and see if we can think more constructively about how these different technologies can work together, and that might be in the form of apps, it might be in the form of urban design, it might be in the form of new ticketing systems, greater integration, and things like that. In an evolving context as complex as this one, you're going to get patterns of competition and you're going to get patterns of collaboration. And what I think is vital is going to be in government, we have as joined up an approach as possible. So we do need to be thinking not just about the transport aspects, but about the urban development aspects, or about the housing aspects, about issues of high streets and loneliness and rural connectivity. That means all different parts of government coming together and talking to each other, and it means an openness to new ideas and new forms of funding and support that government may historically have wanted to treat, for good reasons of public accountability and democracy within particular departments or within particular silos.